Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All we want to do today is play, and we're going to be playing here shortly with David Hartman. And ladies and gentlemen, would you put your hands together wherever you are in your own space? Let's dream about some space out there and let's travel with David Hartman. Enjoy the journey right now. And here is David and our special guest for him to introduce right now. Enjoy the journey, David Hartman. Hello, David.
Hey, Harry. Good afternoon from paradise. Welcome to the Enjoy the Journey luxury travel show. I am David Hartman, owner of Fantastic Endeavors Travel Agency. And I always ask my clients two questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? Today is our wedding show. We're talking about destination weddings in the Florida Keys. I have a wonderful guest and friend, Karen Hunt, event planner and co-owner of Key Destination Weddings and Events, based here in Key Largo, Florida. Hope you're all having a great day, enjoying the nice wet spring weather. It is a beautiful day here in Key Largo. I'm going to first run through our sponsors and do a bit of housekeeping. Then I'll introduce Karen. We'll have a lovely chat about her business, herself, her life, and why you should plan your wedding here in the Florida Keys. So first up, we thank our A1A media sponsors here on Radio A1A. Victor Figueroa, Key Smartphone Repair. I love Vic. Wherever I go, he's around somewhere. Any problem with your tablet, your cell phone, give Vic a call. Chip Bell, author of the Jake Sullivan series, chipbellauthor.com. Great books, and think of James Bond meets the Caribbean. Michael Marinelli, my man Mike, the Real Estate Conk. realestateconk.com. He is the man for real estate in the Keys. He also has a great show on this radio station. And Jim LaPointe, talk to Jim for the best mortgage rates in the Keys. So you got Michael to sell your house, and then Jim will help you finance it. Then we also have Destination Florida, Florida Keys and Key West, the in-room and 5-star resort magazine in the Keys. A fantastic publication. And then Monroe County Bail Bonds. Come on vacation, go home on probation. Love that tagline. And then last but not least, a new sponsor. Thank you to Dale Clemens from Health Genie System Checker. Check it out. Harry, I'm very excited for today. Welcome in Karen Hunt. We're going to talk about weddings in the Florida Keys. Karen, thank you for being here. I know you're a busy mom right now. And thank you for Cody, too, for allowing you to be here today.
Sure. Well, first of all, David and Harry both, thank you for letting us come on and chat a little bit about destination weddings. I guess a little background about me and how we got here. I went to school in UCF in Orlando, and I have a bachelor's degree in event management, which led me into a background in hotel catering management. And so I started working at the Hilton in Key Largo. It's a beautiful property, even more so now. Worked there for a couple of years, and then I started my dream company, which was Key Destination Weddings and Events. And we've been open for 5 years now. We're located, we have a storefront in Key Largo on the ocean side at 97.5 near Shell World. And about 3 years ago, I brought on my partner, Wendy Cole, who isn't on right now, but she is watching, so we'll say nice things about her. So, did I answer your question?
No, keep going. You're doing
okay.
Great.
So between the two of us, we have 30 years of combined experience, and we're both long-time residents in Key Largo as well, so we're really familiar with the area. And let's see, our mission really, most of our clients are coming from out of state, so it really is truly a destination. And even your clients who are from in-state, they're coming from, I don't know if our listeners know this, but to get from Key Largo to the other end of our state takes like all of a day. It's a very large state, so even people who are coming from Florida down to the Keys in-state are still doing this as a destination wedding themselves. Basically what they're looking for is somebody to help them bring their details together and help them visualize and then communicate with their most ideal professionals for their wedding day. So having somebody that they can trust from miles away is really important. And it's a tall order, but we do have passionate experiences. So, at the end of the night when we have, the parents and the brides coming up to us and thanking us, that's that moment when our cups are filled and we love what we do. And knowing that our couples are able to enjoy every second of their wedding. And being able to do that from a distance is really important in this industry of destination weddings.
When I first met you, I think you were brand new at the Chamber of Commerce in 2015, and you were alone. I think you didn't have Wendy yet, and you had just left the hotel industry, correct? You said you worked for hotels?
Yes, I worked at the Hilton in Key Largo, which I think is where that meeting was.
Exactly. Very good memory. It was actually our Chamber of Commerce, Key Largo Chamber of Commerce, the legendary Key Largo Chamber of Commerce, used to have our luncheons at that the Sea View room or Sea Grape room in the top there. I know it's not a Hilton anymore, but that's where I met you and kept your card. And then when I saw you launch these events that you do, which I would definitely want to tell more about, I was like, wow, that's a great niche to have down here. And then I've been to your office. It's absolutely fantastic. So to see where you've come just in the few years since I met you in 2015 has been very impressive. So keep up the fantastic work.
Well, thank you, Dave.
You're welcome. So obviously people can come see you, people can call you, and keep in mind that we have an international audience. It's on internet radio, so it's a national audience, international audience. So describe to people, it's a great analogy about Florida being so big, but describe to people, like, how would they engage you or even ask questions about, a Florida Keys wedding? Like, what are some things they should really know off the top, if it's even for them? Because it may not be for them. It may not be for a certain couple.
Sure. And we've had clients come from all over the world to see us. So, a huge portion of our clientele is from far away, and it is a very big decision to come down to the Keys. Especially if you're in the U.S., the great thing about coming down to the Keys is that you get that island experience, and your guests don't have to have a passport to get to us. So it's a really great option and an affordable option for your friends and family to still enjoy a Caribbean wedding without having to spend the extra money and go through the hassle of getting a passport and flying overseas to do so. So let's see. I lost our question again.
Well, no, but there's one. That's a great point, which I made last week when we had our scuba diving show. Is that, hey, great place to scuba dive because there is no passport required. And for most people, I mean, especially for divers, heavy gear, there's no airplane required for a lot of people. So it is a certain kind of destination. But when you talk to a person who's thinking about the Keys, what is like the first thing that you want to cover with them to see if they're the right fit for this type of destination wedding?
Having a family coming to your wedding, and they're going to stay for a whole week. So if they feel like that's the aesthetic that they want for their wedding, kind of like a wedding weekend, it's perfect for us because people will stay, Wednesday to Wednesday. And then from there we decide, okay, what does your budget look like? Let's see which venues are going to fit not just their budget, but their friends and family as well. When you're planning a destination wedding, you do have to think about that. And that falls into time of year, day of week, things like that, as well as to when a great time would be for, all aspects of their wedding, whether it be weather, pricing on flights and rooms, all of those things kind of determine their date and their location for when they're coming down here. Most of the people who are reaching out to us, they've already decided this is where they want to be.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I would say from there, it's just figuring out their exact venue and creating what their vision is.
Perfect. So yeah, so the challenge is probably you don't have to sell the destination. Obviously, where we live sells itself. We are in truly paradise here. So you're really just selling them on what makes sense for their budget, their preferences. And some may already have a hotels in mind. So it sounds like what you're saying. But as far as someone comes to you saying, hey, we're thinking about the Keys, but we don't know the area. And before we spend some money coming down there to check out hotels, tell me more about your destination and the venues that you use. What do you tell that kind of client who's on the fence?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a lot of people who decide, are we looking at Naples and the Keys, the Bahamas and the Keys? I had somebody debating between Costa Rica and Islamorada. And so we kind of do pros and cons at that point. What does what is being offered there, and then what do we have that's different. And so I'll kind of go through that with them and see what they've learned about their other location, and then kind of focus on the things that we have here. Of course, the passport thing is huge,
Yes.
and then all of the different activities that we have down here. And then every key has its own charm to it. In Key Largo, it's a huge dive destination. So if they really wanted to make sure that their guests were able to enjoy the reefs, we would definitely push them to Key Largo and set them up with maybe scuba diving or snorkeling, or even if they wanted to do a huge, glass bottom boat kind of tour, we have those things up in Key Largo, and we have tons of other things as well. If they're looking for that, very colorful, almost Bahamian kind of feel and mom and pop kind of feel. And a lot of times a little bit more high end, we go down to Islamorada there too, because we have some beautiful resorts there as well. And they are going to get that feeling of that old world charm that Key Largo has. And then or that the Florida Keys in general has. And then if they're looking for, that Duval Street experience, or even yeah, or even if they, just really love Key West, but they want a garden wedding. I mean, there's so many different options when you go further south too. And so every key kind of has its big, I don't know, like what it pinpoints them to be special. And so when I'm talking to them, I kind of figure out what they like, and then I highlight the locations that fit that. And then that way we can try and force them to come down to our beautiful islands here.
Fantastic. Well, it's very nice that so you're not just doing Key Largo. Your really focus is all the Keys, which is awesome. You went over some of the resorts and some of the highlights of each one. That's fantastic. For example, like Key Largo, is there a preferred hotel, or do you work with all the types of wedding hotels here?
We work everywhere. If you name a venue, more than likely we are doing weddings there. So
Nice.
there's so many different types of venues. You have your private homes, which there are a few that they do allow weddings. I would like to warn anyone listening to be careful about choosing just any, Airbnb or VRBO, because there are only a handful that allow them legally. And so we're able to get them in the right direction if that's what they're looking for. Of course, we have the huge, beautiful resorts like, Marriott Key Largo, Playa Largo, Baker's Cay. Those are all gorgeous up here in Key Largo. And then we have some of what I call a buyout resort, which is where they would take over the entire location for their wedding weekend. And that's going to be like Dauphin Point Villas, Largo Resort, Coconut Palm Inn, places like that. So there's such a range of locations that they're able to choose from. And we work at all of them, and they're all beautiful. They all have a gorgeous, water backdrop. And so it really comes down to what their preferences are.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's important that you guys have preferred relationships with everyone, because there are so many great choices here. And the fact that you're familiar with them is quite a selling point for people to use your services. Now, as far as when someone thinks wedding planner, like I'm a full service travel agency, you guys are full service. So you're not just day of, although that's one of your services, correct? You guys handle really everything from just the idea of planning a wedding down here, correct?
We offer so many different types of services, and I think people don't realize that. And it's hard to put it out there because it's so much information. And in this day and age, there's so much information being thrown at people, especially right now, that you kind of have to like dumb it down a bit and then get them on the phone so that we can tell them about all the amazing things that we offer. So what we have is our month of packages. We have our full planning, and then we do partial planning, and that partial planning is so flexible. So I always tell people, give us a call, let us know what you're looking for, and then we'll talk about your budget and see what we can work with you on. So if someone calls and they have an endless budget, we can do full planning A to Z. We can do design boards. We can do in-person vendor meetings, website creation and management for them for their wedding website. But if they call and say, hey, we really want some extra hand holding through everything, but we don't have the largest budget, we can always do something more like consulting, where we can review contracts with them and refer the right vendors and kind of let them take it from there. And just kind of give them a really good push head start. And then of course we would be there for their wedding day. So we really have a range of so many things. And we also offer similar things like consulting and website stuff for vendors as well. So we work with all kinds of clients.
Fantastic. Well, it's amazing the services you offer. And I've also gotten to know you and Wendy over the years, and I know some of the clients that you had, and they're very happy with your services. And is there a certain time of year when you talk with people about coming down here about, I'm planning a wedding, but we're date flexible. So obviously we know our high season can be higher price, but is there a better time to get a better deal, but the weather is still okay for a wedding? Or maybe it's indoors with a few pictures outdoors. So do you plan weddings all around the year? And what do you recommend when someone has flexibility in their dates for a wedding in the Keys?
Yeah, I love when people say, oh, when is busy season? We're like, oh, Lord, all year long. We are always so busy, which is great. Definitely not. Days, but as far as the wet weather, it's typically a bit drier, a little bit cooler. We really enjoy the weather during that time. And it's not quite what they call high season yet. So it's a great time to look at rates for your wedding. And typically when you book a venue, you're going to pay for the actual site for the day to have it privatized. So your site fees at that during that time of year are pretty fair as well. And then of course, travel, you think about that too. It's not quite high season. You're not quite, maybe if into March, you're getting into spring break. But before that, everything's looking. In May. I know my birthday is May 3rd, and I haven't been able to celebrate my birthday on my birthday.
Oh.
And I don't know how long, because it's such a popular month. And so that's going to definitely be where you're looking at higher rates. The weather's going to warm up a little bit. The water's going to warm up a little bit. And so that's why it ends up becoming more popular, because it's not hot like the summer. But you are able to enjoy the weather and the water outdoors still. Then you get into the summer, which is typically our slower season. But what's great is we have so many venues that have indoor options or big teepees and fans inside. And so summer is actually becoming more and more popular. And we do things during the summer like making sure that there's frozen towels for guests or hand fans, making sure there's a water station, so that everybody's comfortable through the event and can enjoy it. You are starting to get into the storm season, but I always tell people, like, I know that big storm Irma came through a couple years ago, yes, but the storm equivalent to that before then was 35 years before. Right? So when it comes to storms, you just want to make sure we have that act of God clause in the contracts. And then when you're getting into fall, our season picks back up again. It gets to be a little bit more popular. Wendy and myself both got married closer into fall.
Very
Happy
nice.
near and dear to us, and the rates are going to go back up at that point with the holidays as well too. So different things to think about throughout the year.
Good afternoon, Karen. David,
Okay.
Karen, I am so sorry. What a great interview we're having here on the A1A Media Network and Music Cloud Media. David, you asked me about the middle of the show to enter with some of the viewer comments out there in our chat room. Are you ready for that, or would you like to continue this conversation, David?
I think we're at a good point for some questions from the audience. I've already forewarned Karen; she better be fast on her feet today. But overall, we're confident they're very good questions.
Well, this is all brought to you by David Hartman, and this Enjoy the Journey show is a part of his outreach to people that the market is due for. It was due for a market adjustment. Now you can buy travel in October, December next year, next April and May, and even into the summer at unbelievably good prices. Is that correct, Mr. Hartman?
It's a buyer's market for travel right now.
Yes.
And, I cover worldwide travel, including travel to the Florida Keys, where we live.
BucketWishTrips.com, is that correct?
Yeah, but BucketWishTrip.com.
Oh, just one trip, huh?
BucketWishTrip.com.
Go on one trip at a time, unless you because they will take your drugs from you if you're going across the border. Anyway, Karen, I am Harry T, and I am the voice of Radio A1A. Usually in the Keys, we have a question from Tony Baxter. He doesn't say where he is in the world, but he asks, have you ever planned an underwater wedding? Have you?
Yeah, that is a good question. I have not, but I do have the resources to do so. We work with captains. I know one specifically who's also a notary, where we can go out, we can go diving, and have you married, right at the reef.
Right at the reef, so that is possible. I have seen some of Captain Slate's photographs, haven't you, Dave, of that sort of wedding?
Yes.
Oh yes.
Captain Slate can marry you underwater. And to give you some background on that question, Tony's a very good friend of mine, and thank you, Tony, for the question. I took him diving for the first time in the Keys in November, and we dove Christ the statue. So maybe that's inspiring him for getting married again, or maybe he's thinking of somebody else. But great question, Tony. That's awesome.
All right.
That's exactly who I was thinking of with Slate.
Oh, really?
Spencer,
Yeah.
I believe, he's still ordained to do weddings. He's still an officiant, I believe, right, Karen?
Yes, he is. Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll provide the underwater music for you. Okay, we're very and we're ordained in the Church of What's Happening Now on the Reef. Okay, so this is the next question, and this one gives no name, but this one sounds like a real tough wedding question for right now in our current situation. So, how far out do you recommend I plan my Keys destination wedding?
That is a very good question. I know right now a lot of people are uncertain about what's going to happen. As of right now, late summer and fall is looking great. We still have June on the books, so we're keeping our fingers crossed for our June brides. I would say if you're worried, move into the dates for 2021, and then you always have our wedding show in January where you come and book all your vendors, and then that way you can kind of breathe and not have to worry.
May I continue, David? We have about 3 or 4 more and more adding up. Is this okay?
Please. She answered most of my questions, and she's providing a fantastic answer. So please go ahead.
Gay weddings. That is a statement, I guess, and a question at the same time. Gay weddings.
Oh, of course. That was it, just gay weddings. Yes, of course, absolutely. We actually have a few on our blog. The very first wedding that I did at Hilton Key Largo, it wasn't legal to get married as a gay couple, and so they had a commitment ceremony. It was 2 women and it was absolutely beautiful. It was the very first one I did down here in the Keys. So yes, 100%, we're here for you.
You hear that out there? The Rainbow Coalition is alive and well all through the Keys with being able to tie the knot in a special way. I would imagine Isla Morada is, it doesn't matter what your persuasion is, it's a wedding. And so there's no issue with an officiant where that's concerned, is that right? This is my follow-up, I'm sorry.
Oh, not at all.
All right.
I've never had a problem with
Beautiful.
any vendors in that, yeah.
All right, what is your favorite venue to plan a wedding? What is your favorite venue to plan a wedding? And I'm assuming we mean the Florida Keys, but just give it. If it's the Virgin Islands, let us know.
Well, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but it's kind of near and dear to my heart. So I'm going to say right now, I love Baker's Cay in Hilton, where I got a lot of my experience. They've done a beautiful job on the renovation. So that would be my personal favorite. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Like I say, depending on what you're looking for, we have so many wonderful, beautiful properties. So
We don't
it's a hard choice.
We don't have a photo of Baker's Cay, but one on our next follow-up show. By the way, we're getting a request for her to be on the show again, David. She's a lot prettier than you are, and I'm sneaky over down here in the corner, and that picture in her bedroom. I'm gonna make sure she has a copy of this one of me in her bedroom. Hello. Sorry about that, but anyway. David, forgive me, okay? I mean, this is live broadcast media these days. One more question, may I? May I please?
Sure. Go ahead, Harry.
But this is a follow-up from Tony Baxter. As a follow-up, what is the strangest request for a wedding venue or location? What is the strangest place you've ever had somebody married? Here we go. And I'm going to appear magically in your bedroom again, okay? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm on David's shoulder.
Let me see.
We have stumped her,
I would
Tony.
say probably the most challenging. Can I go that route?
Absolutely.
Okay, the most challenging would probably have been my own wedding because I don't stay in the box. Our reception was a Caribbean club, and so when you're dealing with a venue that doesn't normally do weddings, having to bring in the extra bathrooms and lighting, and we had to have a place for kids to go and fall asleep, so we had an RV on the side, and getting vendors in and out and things like that, and thinking about the backdrops and where photos are. So that was all very challenging. Another place actually that was really challenging, we just did this one in January. I don't know, I didn't come to mind, but we went out into the middle of nowhere. There was no cell reception, nothing, in Ocala National Forest. And to bring all of the vendors out there, and anytime you needed anything extra, you would have to drive about an hour off property to get anything. So you had to really make sure you had everything you needed. And so that was really, really challenging.
Was that in Salt Springs? Was that the Salt Springs area of Florida up there in Ocala or National Forest?
It's close. Yeah, it was called Doe Lake. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
But, I mean, there was just nothing there.
Yeah, we have
Karen. Go ahead, Karen.
We have an artist there by the name of Carl Page over in the Salt Springs area, and he plays weddings in that area. And he says it's one of the most beautiful areas in all of Florida, and especially for weddings. You remember Carl Page, don't you, Dave?
I do. He's very familiar. That's fantastic.
Yes, indeed. Well, that's all the questions that we have, except for people saying thank you, what's up, and please keep up the good shows, you guys. So it's back to you, David.
Karen, I got a few questions for you, just my own I've been thinking about. And excellent answers, by the way. You haven't met Tony, but he's a very good friend of mine. He's actually met our mutual friend, Leslie Wiseman, a number of times. So there's a connection there. As far as venues go, I know it's more for the hotel, but you probably know, is bungalows available for private weddings? And have you done one there?
I believe they are. I don't completely quote me on this. It's definitely something to look into. But I believe you have to buy out the entire property to do a wedding because they are all inclusive.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that's their policy. So I believe you might also be able to do an intimate, like an elopement. So limited amount of people for that.
Well, I love a venue where the guests could arrive by seaplane. So,
It is pretty cool.
so bungalows, to tell the audience, is a new resort here. It hasn't been open very long because it opened last year and had a very tragic fire to their culinary center. Piper Bay, Florida, near Port St. Lucie. And it's a true all-inclusive, and it is a true luxury product here, which I love luxury. That's my business. And as we're getting guests back in the Keys soon, hopefully they'll be back up and running. And so something to research, Karen, and hopefully you get a client for bungalows, because that would be a pretty good budget for a resort buyout.
Oh, absolutely.
Venues in town that do that are private, and they do weddings. I think Shadow Point's one of them I've been to for events. How does it work when someone wants a private venue? Do you have a list, or do you have relationships with private venues, or how does that work?
We do, and actually, Historic Shadow Point is very cool. It has that old world Keys charm that we love.
Yes.
So definitely with the private locations, when it's a private home, typically the night stay is 5 to 7 nights, depending on the location that you're looking at. And so we do have relationships with them. And like I said, you kind of have to be careful because there are some locations where the majority of the homes down here, when you go and you decide, oh, I want to stay at this location, I'm going to book it on Airbnb, and you go down and you want to have an event, you really need to make sure that it's legal to have that event. And reaching out to your local wedding planners down here, we can definitely get you in the right direction and give you that list that is approved for weddings.
Okay. And say if someone already has a venue, say maybe it's a private home of a friend that can handle a lot of people, do you help people then if they already have a venue in mind?
Yes, absolutely. So if you have a home down here in the Keys and you wanted to have your wedding here, you really just need to run it by your local, I can't think of the name of the office, your local government office, and you can get a permit to do an event at your own home.
Okay, so permitting is required. So you talk to our wonderful growth management and zoning office, I believe.
Yeah, and then you always want to remember that there is a noise ordinance as well. It's not just time, it's also the decibel level. So if you're pumping music and your neighbors don't approve, they can always call in for a noise complaint. And then the time limits 10 p.m. on the weekdays, and then Friday and Saturday is 11 p.m. for most of the Keys, I believe.
Okay, that very good information. And the last question I had before I want to talk about your events, because you do run fantastic events down here for vendors and for clients, is Ocean Reef Club. Have you done work there? Are private weddings possible at Ocean Reef Club?
Yes, typically you would need to be a member or have a member sponsor you to do a wedding at Ocean Reef. I'm not as familiar with the venues that are there. I have done a walkthrough, so I know the locations, but as far as the details, Wendy, my business partner, she actually used to work there, and she has an extremely close relationship with them. So any brides looking for Ocean Reef, she's always taking very good care of them. So any Ocean Reef questions, if any do pop up, I can definitely send them over to Wendy.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm actually a member of Ocean Reef Chamber, and I go to a number of events up there, and there are some beautiful venues. Even their meeting spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So I want to switch over before we let you go today to talk about the events you run, because something unique about you and Wendy is that you actually do events to connect with vendors. So you have vendor happy hours that I attend when I'm available. But you also do a customer event in the wintertime. That I was skiing this year. Sorry, I missed it. I've hit you guys up about trying to I've attended it before, but I've been trying to have a sponsor there and have a table, and it just hasn't worked out for my schedule. But the one I attended was very impressive. The amount of people you're connecting with other vendors. So you're actually doing events that may even take away business from you, but in the end generates business. So tell us more about these events that you're doing.
Yeah, it's really important to us to have a reputation as being team players. Something that's unique and a little unfortunate about our location down here is that there's very limited personal growth and networking opportunities that are in person. And so when I was in Orlando and going to school in Orlando, I mean, they had huge wedding wire conventions, and Perfect Wedding Guide would throw, long weekend meetings. And so there was so much. So you were always being thrown like the latest and greatest of the wedding world. And we're just missing that down here. You have to find it yourself, whether it's online. And what's great right now is everybody's kind of able to participate in these things because everything's virtual now. But on a typical day, it's not available. So what we've done is we do bi-monthly luncheons or sip and meets, like after hours, so that everybody can be connected. A lot of times we'll have somebody speak if there's new information on anything, really, any topic related to the event world. And it just kind of lights that fire of passion with everybody and keeps everybody really engaged and connected. And it's just so important, especially right now. And so what we've done is we've taken it a step further, and we're actually doing bi-weekly virtual meetings so that all of our vendors can continue to stay connected as well. And you're right, we don't make any money off of those meetings, but we do. I always say, if you keep your face in front of people, you're going to be the one who they think of when it comes time for, booking or recommending or whatever it might be. So it keeps everybody referring each other and keeps business moving forward.
Good. And please give a plug for your January event, because probably a lot of people listening today who are thinking about a wedding here, and you do provide a avenue, a resource for them, people to research and meet other vendors that could help them out in planning their wedding in the Keys.
David, I am so excited about our wedding show. This one coming up, it's going to be the most special, I think, this will be the 4th year that we're doing it. And because of everything that's going on right now, and I know it's not until it's January 31st of 2021, it's going to be at Dolphin Point Villas. Nice. So even though it seems far off, it's going to be here before we know it. Especially, I think we're all in like this time warp that we're just getting like shot forward in the year. And we make it like a boutique style wedding expo. And what that means is it's going to feel more like a Sunday market, but instead of buying produce, you get one-on-ones with great quality vendors so that you can create your A-team. You're going to experience live entertainment. You're going to try delicious appetizers, sip on signature drinks. We do grand prize raffles by the pool. And then something even more exciting that we're doing this year is for the first 20 tickets sold, and we may extend that depending on how much space we have. You're going to receive VIP parking and a complimentary after-party boat cruise to celebrate the couple's engagement. So that's really exciting. It's $10 per guest to come, and then fees are all made very affordable for the vendors. And the website for that is roaringkeysweddingshow.com.
Last year, you guys I finally got in because I was always missing out on the application, and then I had that Aspen ski trip, and so there was no way I can come back for that in time. But it is a fantastic event. I did attend January of 19, and I think even the first year you had it. So it's amazing how the event has grown and what a resource it is. And obviously, I've said that I've attended your sip and meets for vendors, which are fantastic. Wedding must have a key style musician or a key style guitarist.
Of course.
So what's the best way for obviously they can look at the website for your expo coming up that you just gave. But if they want to get on the radar with you to maybe be referred or maybe a list of preferred vendors for bands, how does someone listening today from our stable of amazing independent artists do that?
Sure. So the best way to reach out to us is right now is going to be through email, because we are working from home where we just have our cell phones, which we don't like to give out publicly.
Sure.
So our email address is info@KEY destination events with an s.com. So info@keydestinationevents.com. And then you can also reach out to us on Facebook, which is Key Destination Weddings and Events. When you do that, something that could be super fun would be on one of our Zoom vendor meetings. If anybody wanted to do, a 60-second little jam session for
Nice.
the vendors that join that, we would love to, anybody that can show off their talents, we'd love to bring them into our group.
Nice. Yeah. Now, Karen, I attended one of your Facebook Live events you did for the vendors, but I'm not getting one of the Zoom meetings you're having for the vendors.
Yeah, so those are every other week. I post it in the Florida Keys Wedding Vendors group as well
Okay.
as my own personal page. And I try to do a topic every week. We went over the loans and all of that. We went over ways to push our businesses forward. I think right now the biggest thing for everyone to know is that the wedding industry, we are leaning in. We're not going anywhere, and we're coming out stronger on the other end of this. So that's the idea with these bi-weekly meetings, is to just keep that passion moving forward, keep the ideas flowing, so that we're all going to be resilient and bigger on the other end of this.
Yep, it's all about planning ahead and being positive right now. And for people listening who are interested in having a wedding in the Keys, don't wait. You need to start planning now. Contact Karen and Wendy now, because they have to line everything up. We're expecting visitors back maybe as soon as May 1st here. We'll see. But the idea is that your wedding's not going to be this summer if you're planning it now. It's going to be down the road. So get a hold of Karen, get a hold of Wendy. She gave out the email address. Then put on your calendar January 31st, 2021 at Dolphin Point Villas right here in Key Largo, not too far from where I'm sitting right now at my house. And say that website again for the expo.
The expo is FloridaKeysWeddingShow.com. And just something else that we're doing too for people who want to move forward with their planning, we are offering custom payment plans. So that way you don't have to put down a huge chunk right now when maybe the economy is down, but you're still able to secure us. So we can always talk about payment plans with our company.
Fantastic. And so I hope you heard closely here that a lot of the artists
Yes, I did.
who are looking for exposure now can actually connect with Karen and
Right.
Wendy, and maybe even do a Zoom little audition for a number of their vendors.
Those are all possible. We're going to be broadcasting some of those here on the A1A Media Network, and we can always get involved with events, and music and events go together like the flowers in events. I played music at wedding receptions. I played 1,000 wedding receptions in my life with a 7-piece horn band. We played for the daughter of Georgia's wedding. The cake was $25,000. And I personally tasted it before anybody because the band gets there early. So anyway, we do have one follow-up question. Do we have time? This is a live show, and we apologize, or I especially apologize for any technical issues, but I have to admit this has been something special, and thank you for allowing us to practice on you, Karen. It has been a pleasure to meet you over the airwaves. This is a specific question, not about weddings. Corporate travel and catered types of events where you're entertaining a corporate staff, corporate other things here, just the rehearsal dinner possibly, large events of any type, of other types of events. Is that something that you do, Karen?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why our name is Key Destination Weddings and Events, because we do both. I actually started out in corporate. Wendy has done a lot of corporate events.
Yes.
Of course, we do the smaller events as well, birthday parties, rehearsal dinners, showers, things like that too. So really anything that they're looking at. We also will help with fundraising and charity events. We were a part of the Purple Pumpkin Gala. I believe that was last year. So yeah, I mean, if you can dream it, we can do it.
Purple pumpkin people eater, right? So is that what we come dressed
Yeah.
as in Halloween? Well, no, that's Peter pumpkin eater. I'm getting them all confused. Y'all help me here, okay? I'm just down here in the corner. What a great show, David. Back to your studio there in places unknown in Key Largo.
Back here at Club Dave in Key Largo, Florida.
Club Dave.
Well, Karen, we are running out of time, and I appreciate you staying longer today. You've answered all the questions. You've given opportunities for the artists of A1A to connect with the wedding industry, to get more exposure for them, and you've really done a just excellent job of portraying what it takes to plan a destination wedding here in the Florida Keys, and the service you provide is invaluable. And I will say, coming from a travel agent who have a lot of even family and friends who plan travel on their own, do not try to plan a wedding on your own. It is way too much of an investment emotionally and money-wise. Get professional help. Hire a professional for your travel, and Karen and Wendy and I work together. I do the travel, they do the planning, and then hire a professional to do the nitty-gritty of your wedding. It is too important of a day to do it yourself. And I've been for a lot of do-it-yourself weddings with my family. It did not go well. Number did not go well. There's just too much stress involved. So, do you agree, Karen?
Absolutely. We do our very best to become an investment for your wedding day, so that in the end, I think everybody in the end thinks that it's more than worth what the price tag is.
Exactly. And they work with all ages. I mean, legal over 18 and above, 21 and above. They work with same-sex marriages, and they work with every budget. I mean, Karen was clear. There's a number of venues here, and they're very clear on expectations. So before you go, Karen, we got like 5 minutes left here. If you can just give us your contact information again, and we'll thank you again for being on the show.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having us. And I say us because, of course, it's myself, Karen Hunt, and Wendy Cole as co-owners with Florida Keys Key Destination Weddings and Events. Our phone number at the office is 305-916-5571. We do check it at least every other day right now. And our email is info@keydestinationevents.com. And our website is keydestinationevents.com.
Karen, thank you again for being here today. And I look forward to seeing you at one of your events very, very soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Have a good afternoon. Harry, again, another wonderful guest, really doing well to kind of showcase what we have down here in the Florida Keys. And I'm really glad that Karen could provide time today and really, really help us out.
David, you did a good job too, man. You're starting to get really comfortable behind the camera. How's that happening to you there, big boy?
Well, again, I prefer to be at the Bug Pub in Almirada doing this at the Rain Barrel, but for now, sitting in my beautiful office loft here in Club Dave, Key Largo, I will take what we can get right now. So, Karen's very passionate for what she does, just like I'm passionate for travel. She's passionate for weddings. And what I like about her background is when I first met her, she came from the hotel world. She came from working in hotels. She worked up here at the Hilton, which is now Baker's Cay. By the way, hence her preference for that place.
Right.
and she understands the business. And I was most impressed again by the events they run, because they really fill the void here in the market of networking events for people in the industry. So it is truly a pleasure to have her on board the show. And it really, her and Wendy, definitely soon, Karen, will do a nice on-site place, maybe at a Key Largo Resort, and we can all have you all on and talk more. How do you get a hold of me? We're using a different platform today, so I don't have that Zoom background figured out just yet. So my contact information is 305-453-9208. My email is dave@bucketwishtrip.com. bucketwishtrip.com. That's bucketwishtrip.com. And then I have a website, dave@bucketwishtrip.com. You can see a great new video. I now have a video commercial by Jodie Foster, done for A1A and myself. I do on the corporate meeting side, where Karen would do the planning side. I do the site sourcing. I do the contract with the hotels. I do the things that are very difficult to do on your own. So that's why Karen, Wendy, and I work together, is that I do the difficult things, the negotiation side of it, getting the deals for the hotel room blocks, finding the appropriate venue for your group and budget. I do that on the corporate side, and I do that on the wedding side. And I'm also a full service leisure travel agent. I do cruises, all-inclusive resorts, custom trips, bucket list trips. So bucket list travel, I'm a bucket list travel expert. And I even specialize things in like Walt Disney World, which I know Karen loves very much, and so is our mutual friend Leslie Wiseman, who's listening today. And I'm here to help from soup to nuts for people. And again, it's a time where travel is not everyone's mind. We're a bit distracted right now. This is the best time to think about travel. No, not the summer is a little bit, precarious, but the fall, 2021, it is a buyer's market. And the best thing that's happened in the travel industry right now is that a lot of suppliers who are getting stricter and stricter with policies right now, going well into next year, because these suppliers need business back, and they're really being eager for that. Great promotions going on right now. So it is a buyer's market for travel. I cannot emphasize that enough. And you know how to contact me. I'm always here to help. I charge no fee for my services as far as the actual service itself. My commissions come with my preferred relationships from my vendors. And unless you're doing something specific like, custom service request on the corporate side, that's a little different story. We're here to help. Professionals in this business are here to help, and we appreciate the A1A audience today. And keep in mind that David Hartman, I always ask two questions to my guests, and that is, what is your bucket list trip, and where do you wish you were right now? Harry, I think we're all set today. Is Harry still there?
I'm still here. Do you hear that? That's not the commode flushing. That is the ocean. And the end of your show. This has been... Keep talking. Hey, this is fun. This is David's theme song. This is Joey Fry. This is on former number one.
There's a party on the sandbar in the Keys. It's been a long year and the time is right. We're headed south with morning sunlight. We'll take a trip down that blue road, the A1A, yeah. That's the way we'll go, 'cause we'll be feeding tarpon and robbies. There'll be coconuts and parties, tiki bars are playing Marley in the Keys. The water's clear and the weather's right. We'll head out to fish and dawn